Hello friends, this is Jennifer Terri and welcome to my channel. In this video, we'll talk about reuniting. Love is not tourism. So long-distance binational couples have been lobbying using the hashtag Love is not tourism on social media for governments to allow them to reunite after a year of being separated due to the COVID-19 pandemic. However, the Philippine government continues to decline the appeal of the group. In the words of the presidential spokesperson last month, love is not tourism is still covered by a tourist visa. So let's just wait a little longer. Eventually, all those with long-term visas will be allowed to enter. So let's just wait when the tourists will be allowed to come in. But since February 16, all foreign nationals with visas, long-term visas, have been allowed to enter the country. So does this mean that what's next are tourists? President Duterte also mentioned last week that if the country is able to inoculate at least 40 million people or have at least 20 million to 40 million doses of vaccine available for vaccination, he will open the economy. For now, the Philippines had 600,000 Sinovac, more than 500,000 AstraZenecas, and another 300,000 plus will arrive. But that is very far from the 20 to 40 million target. So the Philippines is still without a fixed date for major vaccine arrivals. So without any concrete timeline from the government, binational couples who are wanting to reunite in the Philippines are left hanging, holding on to every travel update. And I can see that happening on my channel. So 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, I did a survey on my community tab asking you guys what classification you are under. So there were Filipino, former Filipino citizens, Palikbayans, and all. And I was quite surprised with the result, as it turns out that most of you are foreign partners of Filipinos on long-distance relationships. So for now, I can't really tell you guys as to when exactly the Philippines will open up for unmarried couples or for foreign tourists. The only thing that I can promise is that my channel will be here until the day comes when everything is open and everything goes back to normal. As soon as they say that the foreign tourists or unmarried couples will be allowed, I'll be here to tell you that. So yeah. But for now, we'll talk about other ways to reunite. So let me give you a different perspective. So reuniting doesn't necessarily have to be in the Philippines, okay? There are temporary reuniting and there is a long-term reuniting. So we have 4 different ways to reunite. The first one is you can reunite in the country of your foreign partner. So there are some countries, especially in the European Union, who have already allowed unmarried couples to reunite. So for example, Denmark, Germany, Norway, Switzerland, and more. So some require documents that prove the existence of the relationship, while others basically take the couple's word without supporting documentation. So different rules as per different country. On the other hand, if that is not possible for you, a more common option is to meet or reunite in a third country. So as Filipino citizens have no outbound restriction and they can leave the Philippines even on tourist visa or even on visa-free privileges in some countries. So the top destinations for binational Filipino couples to meet are Dubai, Maldives, Costa Rica, Thailand, Mexico, Turkey, Ecuador, and more. So these countries are open for foreign tourists. And the great thing though is that some of those countries I mentioned are visa-free for Filipinos, like Thailand, Maldives. So they are top tourist destinations, beautiful beaches, resorts. They have health protocols in place too, like requiring a negative COVID result prior to entry, and while some require quarantine upon arrival. So I think there's a lot to talk about in this topic, countries that are open for foreigners and Filipinos. So I'll make a separate video about this, explaining the requirements and the pros and cons in each country. So watch out for that video. Comment down below if you want me to do that video. And let's move on to the third option to reunite. The third option is to meet in a third country and get married there. So this one is a long-term solution. Is that possible? Yes, Filipinos can marry overseas. So you can meet in a third country, get married there, then have your marriage registered to the Philippine Embassy where the marriage was officiated. So this process is called report of marriage. So when a Filipino citizen gets married outside the Philippines, they have to report their marriage to the Philippine Embassy so that the Philippine government has a record of your marriage and it can be recognized. So in a nutshell, the report of marriage process goes like this. You report your marriage to the embassy or consulate, Philippine Embassy or consulate, and then this report is sent to the DFA, or the Department of Foreign Affairs, and then finally they'll pass it to the Philippine Statistics Office. When all of this is finished, you are then issued a report of marriage certificate. So this is what Filipino and American couple Je and Dan did. So they first went to Maldives to meet, and then they flew to Dubai to get married last February 18. Immediately they applied for the report of marriage in the Philippine Embassy in Dubai, and 2 weeks later they received their report of marriage. And then on March 15, they will fly together to the Philippines carrying their marriage certificate and their report of marriage. His husband to avail the balikbayan privilege. That is 1 year visa-free stay. As we know that foreign spouse traveling with their Filipino spouse will get the balikbayan privilege, 1 year visa-free stay in the Philippines. The only thing you need is your marriage certificate. So while Filipinos can leave the country, since outbound travel restrictions for Filipinos was lifted since October 2020, not everyone has the money to book a flight and leave the Philippines. And apart from that, there is also a risk of offloading. You foreigners might not be so familiar with this term, but we Filipinos, it's a horror, it's a travel horror that we always think about. And this is especially concerning for single Filipinas who never traveled outside the country, who are not working, who are financially dependent to their foreign partner. This is a challenge, and there are many horrible stories about this offloading, which I think we'll talk about in another video too. Anyone who has an experience of offloading, comment down below so we can maybe feature you in the video. Moving on, our fourth option is to reunite via online wedding. Online what? Yes, online wedding. Alright, so the number one question is online wedding legal? Yes, because of the Hague Convention of October 5, 1961, abolishing the requirement of legalization for foreign public documents, which the Philippines, including US, Australia, Canada, and many more countries are part of. So with this apostille convention, you no longer need to have your overseas document legalized by a court when the document is from a country that is also a member of the Apostille Convention. So the Apostille Convention actually makes it easier for public documents to be recognized throughout the world. So for example, if you have a US marriage certificate, it can be apostilled and then that document becomes legal and recognized in the Philippines.
Online man ginawa ang seremonya sa pagitan ng groom at bride na nasa magkaibang bansa dahil sa Apostille Convention. Legal dito sa atin ang kasal ni Richard at Donna.
Ang Philippines isa sa mga signatory ng Apostille Convention. Yung Apostille Convention is hindi na kailangang ipa-recognize sa korte yung isang dokumento na mula sa isang bansa na isa ring signatory ng Apostille Convention, which I believe US is also a signatory of the Apostille Convention. So, ibig sabihin, kilala yung online marriage, valid yung kanilang marriage.
So let's be clear that no court or wedding officiate will do online wedding within the Philippines. There is no company for that because the family code of the Philippines requires physical appearances of both parties before the solemnizing officer for a wedding to be valid. But there is a way on this for this online wedding to be legal. So what people do is get married in the USA without actually being in the USA. That is through the virtual wedding. So take note that the Philippine Family Code does not dictate US marriage. So online wedding is as legal and valid as any other marriage when it is conducted under the jurisdiction of selected states in the US, which legalized online marriage. So even if you are not a US resident, both of you, none of you are US residents, you are not in the USA, you can get married in the USA. For example, in Texas, they don't have the residency requirements for you to get married there, but you have to pay extra charge like $100. However, in Utah, you can get married there even if you're not a resident there, even if you're not in Utah. Even if you have no record of being in Utah, you can get married there through virtual wedding. And the thing is, your marriage certificate won't even say that the marriage was done online. It won't say. It would look like exactly like a traditional face-to-face wedding. It won't say online. And there are many success stories of couples who were able to reunite via virtual wedding, who were able to apply for a NAIA visa, enter the Philippines via virtual wedding, because you actually could get a marriage certificate, apostilled marriage certificate. So couples who were able to enter the Philippines via virtual wedding is Deborah and Jonas, a Finnish and Filipino couple. There's also Rochelle and Lance, Canadian and Filipino couple. Where are they now? They're together in the Philippines. So for those who are doubting about its legality, you may do your own extensive research on this topic. You may decide for yourself, but please don't hate people who choose this path. Okay? Don't spam embassies and Bureau of Immigration about this matter. So there are different ways to do this. You can do this independently, do it by yourself. There's a website by the Utah County on that. You can do it with a company, or you can do it with someone who can officiate the wedding, who will assist you in everything. So if you're interested about this online wedding, comment down below and I may be able to refer you to somebody who can help you, who will be cheaper than doing it in a company, a big company. Will also assist you in applying for the visa. That is all for this video, friends. 4 ways to reunite while waiting for the Philippines to open its borders to unmarried couples or foreign tourists. As to when, we don't know, but many couples cannot wait anymore. They want to be together. They have plans. Alright, so the first way, meet in your foreign partner's country, if that is allowed in their country, if you have enough documents for what is required, or meet in a third country temporarily, have a vacation together. The other option is meet in a third country, get married there, have your marriage apostilled, registered to the Philippine Embassy. Another option, online wedding. So I hope this video gave you an idea, friends. Thank you so much for watching. I'm not encouraging people to do online wedding or go to do this, do that. I'll just present the information. Defensive much. I'll see you again with another travel update.